Hello geeks and gamers, it's Jeremy coming to you with another video, and before I head out to Pensacon today here in Pensacola, Florida, I wanted to cover a story that I saw on my news feed that just continues to aggravate the hell out of me. And before I get into this is not a confirmed story. This is not from a site that I'm particularly a fan of, but it is an interesting story, and considering we haven't gotten any real clarity on what happened with Colin Trevorrow, and considering Kathleen Kennedy continues to have problems with the directors she hires, I think it's worth talking about. So, here we go. Cosmic Book News. Star Wars rumor, Colin Trevorrow's Episode 9 would have been epic. Now, before I get into this, also, I'd like to say I was never a fan of Colin Trevorrow in terms of him being hired for Episode 9, and I was happy when he was let go. But that was all before The Last Jedi, and everything has changed since then. So I just want to make that point clear. So, now again, so I'm going to pull from the story they're talking about, and again, not confirmed, complete rumor, and so take it with a grain of salt. But I'm going to talk about it, because, like I said, it feels like this could be at least somewhat partially true. So, okay, so there were two key things Trevorrow wanted to be changed in Episode 9. In Episode 8. And they were not minor. These two things would have been known for a while around Disney. Firstly, he wanted Luke to be alive in Episode 9. Good job, Colin Trevorrow, if that's true. He strongly disagreed with killing off Luke in 8 when he had just been reintroduced. Yes, sir, that's right. Luke and Leia were to be a pivotal part of his script, with Leia's Force affinity revealed in a much more brother-sister way that was apparently going to be beautiful and tragic. This sounds so fucking good. Mark Hamill loved it. We were on the same page, he said about Trevorrow's storyline. However, Kennedy and Johnson wanted Luke dead. Period. Of course they did. Second, he wanted Snoke to live. And then gets into why he had more of a backstory for Snoke. And that sounds cool too, I'm fine with that. But the key here is having Luke alive and having Luke and Leia get more into the Force with a brother-sister connection. That sounds perfect! That sounds perfect! Now, obviously, Carrie Fisher's passing would have affected that, but it still says that he still wanted Luke alive for the story he wanted to tell to end the trilogy. So, again, why bring Luke back for like one line in The Force Awakens, which at the time I defended, and I love The Force Awakens, just to have him go out like this in The Last Jedi? It's complete garbage, and it just shows all of these reports and all of these contradictions, and the fact that The Last Jedi it was not a true sequel to The Force Awakens. It just continues to show that crazy Kathleen Kennedy has no vision right now for what she's doing. She's so concerned with her political ideology and her forced agenda. She's not worried about telling a good story. She's not worried about a story with continuity. She's not worried about honoring these legendary characters. She's only worried about the social climate she can inject into Lucasfilm and Star Wars right now. It's so obvious, and if you can't see that, I can't help you. All I can do is tell you what the facts are. Now, this is not necessarily a fact. This is only being reported, but the facts are Kathleen Kennedy has had a real problem with directors at Lucasfilm since she became the president. The fact is, The Last Jedi really contradicted a lot of the setup that TFA gave us. The fact is, Rian Johnson has given us the most divisive film in the history of Star Wars. They don't seem to care about the fans. They continue to take little jabs at the fans, and I don't really understand that logic. It doesn't make any sense to me. But this story right here, again, not confirmed, only a rumor, but there does seem to be some truth to what's going on here, because we don't know why Colin Trevorrow was fired. But this seems like there could be a lot more that starts coming out, and it links to a tweet from Trevorrow where basically it seemed like he took a shot at Lucasfilm, where he said basically that the new Jurassic World trilogy is built for a new generation, but not at the expense of the fandom. Without them, we're nothing, and that is exactly right. So Star Wars is a powerful enough IP that it's going to live for a little while on life support, and I'm not saying it's on life support, it's not. But Star Wars the fandom is not very healthy right now. It's not. And the longer Lucasfilm continues to ignore the fans that have built this entire IP for the past 40 years, then it's going to continue to hurt it. But because Star Wars is such a massive brand, you're not going to see the results of this like right now. But if this continues to go, you're going to start seeing the disease is going to continue to eat away. And eventually we're going to be dealing with, I don't know, the Hunger Games or something like that is what we're getting to, and it's absolutely ridiculous. So yes, crazy Kathleen Kennedy continues to show she has no clue what she's doing. She's like, I mean, if you want to throw out box office receipts, that's fine. If you think anybody went and saw a fucking Star Wars movie because Kathleen Kennedy's the president of Lucasfilm, you're out of your mind. Nobody went and saw a Star Wars movie because Kathleen Kennedy was the producer or the president. Nobody. I could have been the president and people still would have saw Star Wars. Anybody could have been. It doesn't really matter. What she's doing behind the scenes is where the problems are. Star Wars is always going to make money and it's always going to be prominent at the box office. But all of the stuff behind the scenes that continue to show, all the stuff with EA and Battlefront, and now JJ's new script has just been finished for episode 9, and that's problematic. And if I wasn't busy with this Comic-Con or this Pensacon this weekend, I would be talking more about that. But this is an interesting rumor. I'll link to it in the description below. What do you guys think? Crazy Kathleen Kennedy continues to just show us that she has no idea what she's doing. Have a great day. Talk to you later.